Hi, welcome back to my work table. Um, this is my fourth week of acrylic pouring. It was also kind of my toughest week. I actually had to throw some pieces away, which is the nice thing about working on paper. Last week I was mixing with Mod Podge, a little bit of soapy water, and some silicone hair product, and it worked really well. So of course this week I decided to change it up and do exactly the opposite. I just used soapy water, no pouring medium, paint, and some Rain-X that I got at the Dollar Tree. And it's a totally different result. I also switched to a bigger size of paper, which I thought would just mean that I would need more paint, but the paint interacted differently because it had more room to move, and so I could really stretch out the cells. And so I like this size of paper. I was only using half sheets before. I think this is a 9 by 12, and I love this size of paper. So I'm going to stay with that, but I'm not ready to go to a big, huge canvas or anything. And the mixture I used this week was runnier. It wasn't as thick. I'm not getting cracking like I was last week. I'm not getting as many cells, which I was kind of aiming for. So I like the mixture for some things. It was just much more difficult to work with. I also tried to use faux gold leaf for the first time, and the air conditioner was on, and I just hate working with gold leaf. I'm going to figure out a different way to add gold into my paintings. I did the ring pour on this one, and then this one was supposed to be a darker blue, but because there was so much white in it, all of the dark colors became lighter, and I really stretched this out over the whole paper, just using a little bit of paint and a lot of patience. And then this one has another layer underneath, and I think it was blue and gold, and it's just so ugly, so I just put some white on top. The one thing about this Rain-X mixture is that it's really terrible for the swipe technique. The swipe technique ruined several of my paintings, so I will definitely be using silicone when I want to do the swipe technique. And the evening I did this was kind of frustrating, so I wanted to go back and vindicate myself and do another mixture. And some of these are kind of crazy, but I like them. I really have been trying to replicate malachite, so I took some time and I looked at pictures of the actual stone. Last week I put in too much black and gold, and here in the corner you can see I still put in too much black and gold. I underestimated how much paint I'd need for the bigger size of paper, which is why you see these negative space. I just used mainly two colors of green and a little bit of black, and you can see how parts of it look exactly like stone. I would love to do this over an object such as a vase or a canvas because I love malachite. And so the ring pour is perfect for this, and I really want to perfect both this color palette and this style of pour. This was by far my favorite piece of the week. My other two pieces are kind of crazy because I was just using whatever was left in the cups, which wasn't a whole lot. And I did use Mod Podge last night, and so the negative space here, and I was just dripping lines all over to create this grunge style, which will be great for art journaling. It's really messy but kind of fun, and it helped me use up my leftover black paint. And this one's a total mess, but this cool thing that I achieved is almost this angel wing effect. I was just dripping the paint straight on, and it was drying pretty quickly. I don't think it had a lot of silicone, and it was a little bit thicker, so it creates a slight 3D effect, and I would love to do this in a cleaner format. And then I went back and I dripped black down it. And I want to try this again, even in this black and gold color palette, but just clean it up now that I know how it dries, how it works. The rest is probably totally unusable. So here's a good comparison between silicone and just dishwater. You can see that there's a lot more movement over here, at least I think, and this is a lot softer with the silicone, a lot more fluid. This is a little bit heavier. So I am a big fan of silicone and pouring medium. That's going to be the mixture that I use. I just haven't been super successful with dish soap, and I do use a little bit of it just to get the perfect consistency. I also wanted, since I work on paper, I wanted to experiment with a little bit of a thinner mixture, which I think turned out really nice. It's almost similar to a watercolor instead of an acrylic, but it was so frustrating to work with. So I may occasionally go with this thinner mixture on paper, but I doubt I'll be able to get a really defined rink pour or anything like that from it. But I think that this is a really beautiful piece, but it was just really frustrating to work with. I think trying that thinner mixture was why I was so frustrated that night, but it was why I went back the next night and created more pieces. So this is how I've advanced in 4 weeks. Doing acrylic pouring. Again, I'm not an artist. I just saw it on Instagram and I thought, that looks so cool. I want to do that. And so I did. So next week I'm going to try some more 3D dribble angel wings, and maybe I'm going to look into some galaxy pours this week, see what that's about. So the pieces you see next week are going to be totally different pours, totally different color palettes. So stay tuned for that and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks.